I still ran into all the same struggles as most new agents do. I mean, from picking up clients to keeping deals from falling apart, and all throughout this, I had a new child. He's 16 months old now. But regardless of that, I set my goal for $500,000 in gross commissions for my first year. And let me tell you, based upon these numbers, I failed miserably. What is going on, guys, and welcome to the video. Today I woke up with just something on my mind, honestly. I was thinking about and reflecting over my entire first year as an agent. I was thinking about the situations and the different deals that I was a part of, the transactions that went crazy and went awry, but we still were able to close them out by the finish line. And it got me to thinking, and I just wanted to recap with you guys how my first year went as a real estate agent.
Listen to me. This is groundbreaking, like life-changing stuff when you listen to this guy talk. I'm serious.
You know, real estate is a very rewarding field to be in, and it's taught me so much over the years, especially from my perspective as being an investor. It's definitely changed my life over the years, and as I've learned more about the different directions that you can go within the career field, it's definitely been a game changer for me in my life. You see, when I started, I was only an investor. You know, I bought properties to hold on to them long term and, you know, keep getting that residual cash flow. I had no desire to be a real estate agent. I thought it was unnecessary. And if I'm being honest with you, the thought of sales just really intimidated me. But then 2020 hit and it flipped most of our lives upside down. And it was at that moment I really realized, and I started to watch how resilient the real estate market was. I mean, deals were still getting closed left and right. In the middle of a pandemic, things were still pushing forward in the real estate industry. You know, things kind of stopped and slowed for a minute with all those restrictions we had, but when it opened back up, wow, I had never seen anything like it in my life. So it was at that moment I decided that I was going to use my knowledge and experience to help families build wealth and set themselves up for the future. 2021 was a very interesting year, and I mean, the market was on fire. But as a new agent, I still ran into all the same struggles as most new agents do. I mean, from picking up clients to keeping deals from falling apart, and all throughout this, I had a new child. He's 16 months old now. But regardless of that, I set my goal for $500,000 in gross commissions for my first year. And let me tell you, based upon these numbers, I failed miserably. So I got my license in December 2020 after I had studied for what had felt like a freaking eternity, man. In Texas, you have to take 160 hours just to sit for your pre-licensing exam. Let me give you a little comparison. I think in Mississippi, all you really need is 60 hours and you'll be able to take your exam, which should take you 1 or 2 months. The whole process took about 6 to 7 months for me to study, take the test, and go ahead and get licensed. All in all, I passed on the first try, and I was ready to get the ball rolling in my new career. Well, I have to finish up some things here at this Airbnb. I just launched it. We have some guests checking in this evening, and I'm gonna head on back to the house, and we're gonna go through these numbers one by one, and you can see every transaction I did for 2021. Let's get to it. guys, we've made it to the home office, and this is the moment I know you all have been waiting for. You really want to see what's possible for an agent in their first year. I'm going to just break it all down to you. I'm going to show you the numbers. If you don't know what a CDA is, that's called a commission disbursement agreement, and that's what you would receive whenever you're closing a deal. Your broker will send that to the title company, and it just basically outlines and shows all of the numbers that are supposed to be dispersed to you. For any of you guys that don't know, I am with 100% brokerage, which means that I don't pay any brokerage splits. I only pay a $100 per month brokerage fee, really, to be a part of the brokerage, then a $45 per transaction fee. For me and my business, I really believe in having really low overhead, and it's paid dividends, especially with the amount of work I put in. Most of these deals are all from cold calls, right? So from cold calls, I'm keeping 100%. I'm able to put some money back into my business, right? What I would have been spending on a brokerage split, I put that back into my business as far as ads and that sort of stuff, paying for any type of, dialers or anything like that. So it just really makes more sense, especially if you're a new agent, than to be giving up so much money as far as your commission goes to your brokerage, who really in this game, once you really start to get some momentum, once you really start to understand how the real estate industry works from the sales perspective, you're going to realize that your brokerage doesn't do a whole bunch, right? They're there for you, and they will be, and you can get support and all these other things. But once you really start selling some property, you really start to realize quickly that it's all on you. And when you realize that, that's when you're going to start have people in your pocket, or you're gonna at least want some more value for what they are taking. So enough about that, man. Let's hop into these deals, and I'm gonna show you every single deal that I did in 2021. All right, so the first deal I did was actually a lease. This one closed on February 22nd, 2021, and I ended up taking $875 home as a commission. The sales price or per month rent was $2,300, and as you can see, that is what I took home. So this next deal was actually a 3-in-1, right? I had cold called this client, and they told me they wanted to list their house, right? And so we prepared everything, and I'm gonna be honest with y'all, this was one of the most difficult deals I've done in my career, right? It was a lot of moving parts. It was just a lot of things going on at the time. We had the Texas snowstorm that happened and shut everything down, pipes bursting, repairs, concessions, all sorts of things. And if you want to hear more about this deal, I actually did a video on it. You can look up here in the cards. This deal really tested me as far as my persistence and being able to get a deal done. My clients were kind of on the fence about selling, and then they finally pulled the trigger, and then halfway through they thought about not selling. But again, we're not going to get all into that. We're going to talk about the numbers here. If you want to check it out, just check out that other video. Once my sellers sold their house, right, this is the deal that they bought. Right, so this is the new house that they bought, and they bought that house for $395,000. My commission on that deal was $11,805. So this next one is still the same deal. Remember, I told you it was a 3-in-1, and so when I sold my client's house, I ended up bringing the buyer, right? So the buyer randomly called me one day off of my sign in the front yard, said they were interested in purchasing the house. We put the deal together, and I was able to represent the seller and the buyer on this deal. So at a sales price of $449,000, my gross commission on that deal was $19,405. So this next deal was also a cold call, and I had been communicating with this seller for quite some time. They were kind of on the fence about selling. This was a rental property for them, and at that point they were kind of back and forth for quite some time. I had a lot of follow-up with this client, but they finally decided to pull the trigger, and at that point we listed the house, put this house on the market in April, and within about 2 or 3 days we had received 20 plus offers, right? So we ended up going with the all cash offer for $333,000, and my commission on that deal was $9,945, and this one closed in May of 2022. So the next deal, this one closed on May 7th of 2022, and we sold this property for $236,000. This is also a cold call that I had with the client. They were thinking about selling, wanted to move to the country. They had some land out there, horses, that sort of thing. So we put that house up. It sold in 3 days, and we sold that at $236,000, like I said. So my commission off of that sale was $7,035. So this next deal, this was a deal that I got on Facebook where another agent sent me a referral, right? So I'm in a Facebook group with another agent. They recognized me, saw the type of work that I was doing, really liked my style. So we connected, and they sent me their client because they were actually selling their house in Utah. So their client was moving from Utah to Texas for a new job, and I was able to really help them and get them a nice house for their family. So this deal closed on July 22nd, 2021 with a sales price of $515,000. So my gross commission on that deal was $11,542 because 25% split with the other agent for the referral fee, right? And so that's why that was a little bit lower. The amount I had on that deal, like I said, was $11,542. For the other agent, they received $3,862. So this next deal was also a cold call. Honestly, this was probably one of the first people that I cold called once I got my license, right? I cold called them, and out of the blue, they sent me an email saying, hey, they're thinking about selling. This was a rental property for them. They live in Arizona. And so a little back and forth, we got the paperwork signed. And the house that I'm talking about here was actually in another video that I did, A Day in the Life. You want to check that out. But we ended up listing this house for $315,000. Put it on the market, had a great response rate, did an open house for it. And we ended up getting 8 offers on this one as well. And it's ended up selling at $345,000 cash in a couple of days, right? So my gross commission on this deal was $10,305. So this next deal, also a cold call out in Frisco, Texas. I had probably cold called them maybe 5 to 6 months prior. They hit me up via text, say, hey, we're thinking about selling. Went and met him at the property. I met the actual liaison for the property because the actual owner lived in New York, and he was kind of, separated from this whole situation. He had so much work going on. So the guy that I was in communication with basically was the power of attorney on the property, right? So he had all the signing power and everything like that. So on this deal, we ended up listing at $450,000. And again, I was able to double in this deal, right? So I got another sign call, someone interested in making it a rental property. They called me, they wanted to get the deal done, and we worked it out, and I represented both sides. And so on this deal, like I said, we sold for $450,000, and I ended up making a gross commission of $26,955. So this next deal, also a cold call. The guy that my client is actually an investor. He owns a few properties around the area, and he was looking to liquidate this one, as I'm actually about to do another deal with him in the next couple months because he wants to sell another one and then buy a new property. So the power of the cold call, guys, I'm telling you, if you haven't checked out any of my other videos as far as my cold call style, what I'm doing, how I'm going about it, you might want to check those out in the videos, but that'll be for another video. So on this house, we ended up selling on September the 13th. 2021, and this house sold for $170,000, and my gross commission on that was $6,755. But if you guys notice, right, then even with the $170,000 house, it's a much bigger cut because I'm not paying a commission split with my brokerage, right? Like I said, if you're selling $300,000 houses, that's $10,000. But if they're taking a 25% commission fee and then a whole bunch of other fees, the amount of money you're making per deal is getting cut so drastically that it makes it harder for you, especially as a new agent, because it takes some time to be able to get some deals, right? This is not something that just happens, right? So for me, it's really important and really key that I make sure I keep my overhead low as possible. Okay, so this next deal, this wasn't a cold call, but I say it was, right? Because I got the deal from a referral from one of the houses that I sold earlier, right? So the client that I cold called referred me to their sister-in-law, who then wanted to sell their house. So we listed this house at $299,000, and this was back in September. So we ended up selling back in October for $290,033. And so for me, my gross commission on this one was $4,655. And let me tell you why. There ended up being a problem with the roof, right? The roof, the shingles had gone bad. The shingles were discontinued, meaning that they don't make them anymore. And in order for the buyers to get financing, they had to have a new roof. There was no way around it. Without a new roof, the bank was not going to finance it. So the buyers really wanted it. I negotiated a way to try to please both sides, right? Me and my seller really needed her to go ahead and pay for that because of the situation my seller was in. She didn't have the funds to be able to take care of that prior to the closing date, right? And so what I negotiated was that, each side basically pay half of whatever the cost of the roof was. The cost of the roof ended up being around $9,000. So each side ended up paying $4,500, right? In order to get that taken care of. And the buyer just took care of it prior to closing, right? So the buyer paid for the roof prior to it being closed. They paid the entire amount. Then they were reimbursed at the closing table for the $4,500. And the reason my commission wasn't in the 9,000 range is because, this business is about relationships, right? And helping people. And like I said, my seller, she was kind of in a bind. It's more about the relationship, not about the money. So I cut my commission in order for her to be able to keep more so her and her family could move on to their, next living situation, which it meant the world for me just to be able to work with her. Like I said, it was also a referral from another client. So for me, building that relationship and really cementing that is more important because she's going to send me business in the future, right? I will get that back tenfold what I would have made on this deal just based upon that action. And that's what's so key and so important about making sure it's relationships over transactions, guys. So this next deal was actually my in-laws, right? So they were selling their house in California until they can move out here closer to us and our family, want to be closer to the grandkids, that sort of thing. And so I sent out a referral to another agent in California, and we got their house sold out there. So the sales price on that house was $475,000. The gross commission for me was $3,517, as I took a 25% referral fee for that deal. So the last deal of 2021, we closed on 12/29, and that was again my in-laws who also bought a house out here. And we ended up closing that deal, like I said, 12/29. They bought the house. They had a sales price of $399,900, and my gross commission on that was $13,952. So all in all, guys, it was a really successful first year. I ended up making a gross of about $126,000. It could have been more, but like I said, building those relationships was way more important to me. But for a first year agent, that was phenomenal. Those are phenomenal numbers to be able to do and putting together. And honestly, most of my deals were listings, and that was really what I was focused on. I want to be a listing agent, and that's what I'm going to be trying to do going forward. And for me, definitely having, gaining all of the experience that I gained this year was so vital, right? I'm going to be honest with you guys. You can do as much training and all this in classroom training and all that sort of thing, but you're not going to actually learn this stuff until you are out in the field doing deals. That's when stuff is really going to happen, and you have to adapt and learn, and you really get to make mistakes and, do better the next time. But don't be afraid to jump out there and, get to doing business, man. Again, it's been really great, guys. I appreciate you watching the video. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm looking forward to another great year for 2022.